Yeah, hello everyone. Myself Maruti. Welcome you all to this physics video session. In this video, I'm going to talk about structure of the atom, especially the postulates of Mr. Bose. According to Mr. Bose, how does a atom look like? What is its structure? Structure means atomic model. How does the atom? What is the structure of the atom according to Mr. Niels Bohr? That is the point what I am going to discuss in this video. Okay, now why did I name it as Mr. Bohr's atom model of hydrogen atom? Why did I name it as specifically hydrogen? We are having many atoms. Why did we specifically take it as hydrogen atom? Means that is the first point we have to consider. Mr. Bohr has considered hydrogen atom is the foundation or the basic for everything. He assumed that how the hydrogen atom look like, in the same way the remaining all will look like. Of course, he made a prediction. Of course, it is not that accurate, but he tried to. We have to appreciate him as it is one of the main basic structures of an atom, taking the foundation of him. Many others came forward. It might be Mr. Right, modern periodic table or modern periodic postulates or whatever it might be. First, we are dealing with Mr. Niels Bohr. Right, the concept is Niels Bohr's atomic model. Of course, he is a Danish scientist or a Danish physicist in the year 1913. He proposed this one in the year 1913. What does Mr. Niels Bohr say? What are his postulates according to him? How does an atom look like according to Mr. Niels Bohr? We'll talk about that. Mr. Niels Bohr proposed that electrons revolve around the nucleus in a specified path called orbit or shell. So let me explain to you. According to Mr. Niels Bohr, if you take the middle part, right, so the center part, of course, if you consider this one as the nucleus, right, now what he says, right, if you consider, right, so this is the path. Electrons revolve around the nucleus in a specified path. What is the meaning of specified? Fixed path. That is what he says. Electrons, he likes to consider the electrons somewhere here. Right. So what it says, electrons are revolving around the nucleus. Electrons revolve around the nucleus in a specified path. Means, right, this electron, this electron will always move in this orbit only. Of course, there are certain conditions. Later on, we will discuss about that one. If you take one more orbit, right, few electrons are there. They are fixed to that orbit itself. That is what? Few electrons are revolving in that orbit only. That is what he said. Electrons revolve around the nucleus. Yes, this is the nucleus, positive charge. Electrons are revolving around the nucleus in a specified path. That's what? What's the meaning of specified? Just now itself a fixed path. For this electron, this is the fixed path where it is moving. For this electron, this is the fixed path it is moving. That is point one. Now, what else he says? As long as the electrons are revolving in the same orbit, they neither lose energy nor gain energy. That is what I am telling. But here the condition is, I am not saying forever it is going to be in the same orbit. I am not saying. But until it is going to be in the same orbit, it is neither going to lose energy nor gain energy. That is what? As long as the electrons revolve in the same path, they neither lose energy nor gain energy. Therefore, these orbits are called stationary. What is the meaning of stationary? No change. You have to remember all those things. Specified path means fixed path. Stationary means no change, stable. There is no increase or there is no decrease. That is what called as. These orbits are called as stationary orbits. Of course, these orbits are also called as shells. So that's what he says. As long as the electrons are in the same path, they neither lose energy nor gain energy. Therefore, those paths are called as stationary orbits or stationary shells. Now here, what might be the distance? See here, from here to here, I like to call it as radius, right? if you consider as a spherical part, right, then this is the fixed distance, means wherever might be the electron, if the electron is here, the distance will be this. If the electron is here, the distance will be this. If the electron is here, the distance will be there. Means electrons are revolving in a fixed path at fixed distance also. That is what he says. Each orbit is at a different distance. If you take this orbit, it is having a fixed distance. The radius, you know, for every circle, the radius is fixed. In the same way, if you take this is the radius. So the distance of that orbit from the nucleus is always fixed. That's what he says. They are right. Each orbit is at different distances from the nucleus. This orbit is this particular distance. If you can call it as R1, and here also we can call it as R2. Now, what are the names designated? What is the meaning of designated? Denoted by. So the first orbit we can call it as K. Right, the next orbit we can call it as L, and if you take the other orbit, you can K, L, M. That is what they are named as. Right, the orbits are named as K, L, M, and so on. So they are designated by K, L, M, and so on. Now let me explain what about the energy level. See here. Energy of the orbit is quantized, right? If you recall the diagram what I have shown here, if you think about the nucleus here, we were talking about the first orbit, we are talking about the second orbit, we are talking about the next orbits here, and we have already said to you, right, the one which is present is nothing but K, the next one is L, and the next one is M, right? The orbits are designated. Now here it says, if the energy, that is what? Each orbit, energy of the orbit is quantized, means fixed, right? If the energy of the first orbit is fixed to E1, right, it is having a fixed quantity. The energy of the second orbit is fixed to E2, and the energy of the second orbit is E3. Means as long as the electron is in the same orbit, its energy is fixed. It won't increase or it won't decrease. That is what the point. Energy of the orbit is quantized. So E1, E2 and E3, now we call them as energy levels. E1 is the energy level of the first orbit, E2 and E3. Now which orbit is having more energy? Which orbit is having more energy? That's what he says. The size of the orbit, right? If the orbit is small, and see here, this is the first orbit, the K orbit, the size of the orbit is small, whereas M, the size of the orbit is big. Right? The orbit which is smaller will be having less energy, and the orbit which is having larger will be having more energy. Of course, you can say in the other way, the orbit which is closer to the nucleus, the distance I am talking, if it is very close, it will be having less energy, whereas if the orbit is far away from the nucleus, it will be having more energy. Means energy of the orbit depends upon size and distance of the orbit from the nucleus. That is what energy of the orbit depends upon the size and distance of the orbit from nucleus. So if the size is less, energy is less, right? If the orbit is close to the nucleus, the energy is less. That is how we have to remember. Now the next point, when an electron, if you take about the next point, when an electron jumps, suppose assume that if the first orbit is having something like 10 units of energy. Now, if the secondary orbit is having something like 20 units of energy, now if suppose if this is the nucleus, this is the orbit and this is the second orbit. Here we are talking the energy E1 and E2 I am taking it as 20 units, and here I am saying E1 is equal to 10 units. Okay, now here is the electron. When an electron jumps, that's what? When an electron jumps from higher energy, so lower energy level to the higher energy level, that is what he said. Here I said energy is fixed. Suppose example 10. Here the example is 20, the energy of that orbit. When electron, because of excitement, when it absorbs energy from the surroundings, when it jumps, right, when it jumps from a lower energy level to higher energy level, obviously it will absorb energy from the surroundings, from the other atoms and all. That is what's been said. When an electron jumps from lower, and the lower orbit is also, the energy level is called as, for the first one we call it as ground state, and the higher level we call it as excited state. You have to remember this, excited state, right? When an electron jumps from ground state to the higher state, it absorbs energy from the surroundings. In the same way, when electron jumps from, right, please remember, the electron which is present here, which came from the ground state, it can't stay there for a while. Right, it can't stay there for a while. It has to jump back from the higher energy orbit to the lower energy orbit. That is what, when an electron jumps back to the ground state from the excited state, it loses energy in the form of radiation, electromagnetic radiation. When the electron jumps back to the ground state, it has to lose energy, and that energy will be E2 minus E1 is equal to h nu, where h is nothing but Planck's constant, right, which is nothing but Planck's constant, and nu is nothing but frequency of the energy or frequency of radiation. Frequency of radiation. You have to remember this one. When an electron jumps from ground state, right, higher energy to lower energy level, it loses energy in the form of radiation. And how much it will be? Obviously, if I take the example, here I took it as 20, there I took it as 10, E2 minus E1, obviously E2 minus E1 is equal to h nu. Of course, here I had given example 20 minus 10, something like 10 units or something. This is an example, that's what I am giving. Right, that is what he says, E2 minus E1. Now, right, now the energy which is released out, what I said, the energy when it jumps from higher energy to lower energy, some energy is released out, some amount of the energy is released out. That can be seen in the in the form of, right, the energy release can be seen in the form of electromagnetic radiation in the spectrum. If you observe the energy which is going out from an atom, right, we can see, right, it's nothing, right, it is released in the form of electromagnetic radiation, and it can be seen in the spectrum. But the condition is, if the energy which is coming out, right, which is coming in the form of waves, if the frequency of that radiation is under the visible length or visible spectrum or visible wavelength, then we can see. If it is beyond our wavelength of visibility, we can't see it. But of course, we are having other electromagnetic spectrums, fine spectrums and all, where we can observe that one. This is the point, right? The energies released can be seen in the form of electromagnetic radiation in the spectrum, and if the wavelength of if the wavelength is in the range of visible wavelength of the human, visible length of the human, we can observe it directly. That's what I said. When an electron jumps from, right, higher energy orbit to lower energy orbit, the energy is released in the form of radiation. That is what. If you consider, right, these are the, right, if this is of E2 and if this is of E1, when an electron jumps from higher energy orbit to the lower energy orbit, energy is released. Energy is released. Energy is released. Right, that is what the, right. So the electromagnetic radiation emitted in the form, right, observed in the form of line spectrum. Now, if you see the energy in the electromagnetic spectrum, we can see in the form of line spectrum. If this is nothing but electromagnetic spectrum. Right, I repeat. Right, then when an electron is jumping from higher energy to lower energy, then, right, higher energy orbit to lower energy orbit, energy is released. If you observe the coming out energy in electromagnetic spectrum, of course, if the energy which is coming out, if it is under the visible range, we can see with the naked eye. Otherwise, if you observe in a spectrum, we can see in the form of line spectrum. That is what the electromagnetic radiation observed in the form of line spectrum. When we observe in the spectrum, we find line spectrum. That is what the point we noted. Line spectrum. Right, we can see discrete lines, right? We can see in the spectrum, the lines can be seen in the spectrum. That is what. Thus, Bose explained the line spectrum in the case of hydrogen atom. So, Bose was very successfully able to explain in the case of hydrogen atom. He said hydrogen atom. Now, what is the speciality of hydrogen atom? You have to remember, hydrogen atom atomic number is 1. How many electrons does it has? Number of electrons is equal to 1. So, Bose was able to explain the atomic spectrum of hydrogen atom or any other atom which is having only 1 electron. So, uni-electron species, we call it as. He was able to explain the atomic spectrum of hydrogen atom, right? And also any other atom which is having only 1 electron. Now you may be thinking, what is the other atom which is having only 1 electron? If you take example of helium, okay, what is the atomic number? It's nothing but 2. How many electrons it has and how many protons it has? It has 2 electrons and 2 protons. If because of for the sake of bonding or for other reason, if you remove 1 electron, now this is not an atom, it becomes helium. Right, positive ion. Of course, how many electrons does it have? Only 1 electron. Now, this is similar to hydrogen. So, I can call this is hydrogen-like species. Means, Bose was able to explain the atomic spectrum of hydrogen atom which is having only 1 electron or any other atom which is having only 1 electron. It's very good. That's what I want to say. Bose was successful when we are dealing with the hydrogen atom. That's what. Thus, Bose explained all the atomic spectrum in the case of hydrogen atom. So, Bose was successful in explaining the uni-electron spectrum. That is what? Single electron spectrum. In the case of hydrogen, he was successful, right? But we could not explain the atomic spectrum of atoms which are having more than 1 electron. Means multi-electron structure. Multi-electron means which are having more than 1 electron. Bose was not able to explain the atomic spectrum of the atoms which are having more than 1 electron. That's what. Bose could not explain the atomic spectrum of other atoms which are having more than 1 electron or multi-electron spectrum. These are, we can consider these as the limitation of Mr. Neil Bose. Not only this, there is one more limitation. What is that one means? Right, these line spectrum, when it is kept under electric field or magnetic field, these line spectrum has further split, right? So these line spectrum has been further splitting, right? Groups of, right, basing upon, this is further splitting. Right, the line spectrum, when it is brought under electric field or magnetic field, they started splitting again into groups of line spectrum. This is one group, this is one group, this is one group. When it is asked what is the reason for that one, Mr. Neil Bose was not able to explain. This also we can consider as one of the defects, or I don't want to say it a defect, limitations of Mr. Neil Bose. The line spectrum of hydrogen, when observed through high resolution electroscope, it is further divided into fine spectrum, that too in the form of groups. When it is observed or kept under electric field or magnetic field, it is further splitting. What is the reason for that one? Mr. Neil Bose was not able to explain. This can be considered as one of the limitations of Mr. Neil Bose. But whatever, it's Neil Bose who made an impact on the entire science. In this channel, I have been placing both math and science videos.